Mr. Neve and the defendant lived together for a period of time. As a couple, I would stay there from time to time, but I had my own place and she had her own place. Tell me about your place where you stay. I have an apartment in the town that I live in, and you maintain that apartment from February until June. I was really behind on bills, and he offered to help with those bills he can offer unless you ask, you have to tell him. I took his word for what I owed him, and I gave him money. How much money did you give him? $3,000, okay? Are you a school teacher? Yes, of children. No, of what college? College teacher. Of what English? So don't look so confused. I want you to try to use simple logic. I know you're an English teacher. I want to see it, so here's the deposit for the Volkswagen. That's the $9,000, and I'd like to see first. Let's do that. And those are the two separate dates, the 22nd and the 24th, that the money came from. I have the bail bondsman was $1,236, and the retainer for the lawyer was $2,000. She had nobody to turn to. Judge Judy continues in a moment, and later, today she provided security for 9 days, and what I would like to know, Mr. Norton, is how much you paid her for those 9 days. I didn't have any bank statements to back that up. I have notes that I kept myself, and I can give you the dates that she gave me some payments. Judge Unks, there was never any question that you owed him in excess of $5,000, am I correct? Nicholas Neeb says ex-girlfriend Brandy Opsy owes for loans to pay her mortgage bills and bail. Brandy is countersui claiming Nicholas broke down her bedroom door. Now, did you break down her door? Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Okay, and how much was it to fix the door? I had a friend fix it, but I did have to purchase 2 doors. Stacy McGovern is suing Richard Norton Jr. for non-payment of services at Halloween Haunted House. Judge Judy is suing Richard Norton Jr. for non-payment of services at his Halloween Haunted House. Stacy McGovern is suing Norton Jr. for non-payment of services. Norton Jr. says she provided security for 9 days, 7 days. 7 days. She provided only one person and 2 days for 2 days. Mr. Tank, I have not paid her anything. Well, that would be outrageous. Judge Judy says he ate the steak, he's got to pay for it. Ms. Heckler retained Mr. Jensen, who is an attorney, to represent you in a criminal proceeding. Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to Judge Judy. Come like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. To the police reporting something that had to do with your daughter. Yes, what happened is my daughter was missing about a couple years, and I hired a private investigator and they found her. Josh Jensen says he was charged with 4 statements. The police officer went into the district and filed false statements against me because they didn't want me back in that area where my daughter is. Kim Keenan. Kim worked for a firm that has 4 full-time lawyers and 2 part-time lawyers, and you are supposed to generate a certain amount of income. At first, you're on the first page. It's a flat fee agreement on the top. That's right. It says that for $2,500, you will do a preliminary hearing that's correct flat fee, and then for another $1,000. I don't know what this says. Surrender and book is $1,000. That's correct. Okay. The next charge, Mr. Jensen, is for $2,500 for preliminary hearing. That's correct, Your Honor. Did you conduct a preliminary hearing? The answer is yes or no. No. The client had already told you she was going to hire another lawyer at the time. When you got there, how much time did you spend? Answer my question. Probably about an hour, 1 hour. Sandra Eckler says attorney Eric Jensen owes for the return of his fee. Eric is countersuing for malicious prosecution. Judge Judy says attorney should have returned $2,500 of her money for the time she spent with her client, Erica's attorney. Judge says Eric Jensen should have been smart and returned her $2,500. Mr. Jensen says the judge should have been more generous to listen to the cases. The judge you're ignoring or you haven't heard yet. Yunk, there was. Never. Preliminaries are much more complicated than you're letting on, Your Honor. If you look at the boiling down of the hours like an egg, you might come to that conclusion. Sandra Eckler has accused attorney Eric Jensen of failing to return his unused fee. Judge Judy says she filed a complaint against you with the Bar Association for not returning her money for not working for 4. Judge says she has a counterclaim, and you don't have to claim, and your counterclaim is that she filed against you. She says she earns from your firm is $25 an hour. At most, you spend time with him in his office a half an hour, just a second. You spent time. You spoke to him on the phone. He spoke to the police and he sent an associate, so that's worth $1,000. You didn't think so that. That's too bad, that's too bad, that's too bad, that's too bad, that's too bad. But he did not complete a preliminary hearing, which was on his retainer on the front page. There, do you see that it says a fixed fee on that? I got the impression from reading your complaint that at the time that your dog was bitten, you didn't see it. I did see it. Okay, now you can tell me what you saw. I was sitting on a beach chair. He started, running around the beach. Who did, Bo, your dog? The dog that he ran probably about 60 yards away. So I got up 60 yards away. So I got up 660 yet. Dog attacked a man just several months prior to attacking my dog. His dog jumped over a water bowl. That's what he says. He says your dog was where he was. I would not let my dogs be 60 yards away from me at all if there were other dogs around. Well, I'm estimating the distance. I had a complete visual of him. I'm telling you that legally you do have a case against him. You assume the risk when you let your dog off leash and out of your control that something might happen. I listened to me carefully. If I had a 3-year-old child, I wouldn't let my child be 60 yards away from me and turn my back on that child to walk back to my boat. The purpose of having a beach without a leash is so the dogs can roam and run and play. Judge Judy Holly Chan-Cola says a dog owned by Anthony D'Aso attacked her Yorkie on the beach. Anthony Roman was under a court order to have his dog leashed and muzzled at all times when out with him. Then you have a case. I have documents here, but just a second. Do you or do you not? Prior to July 21st, 2017, Nick Roman is suing his cousin Joe Marie Perez for the cost of Six Flags season tickets and for damaging his credit. Nick Roman, the defendant, is your cousin. She has 2 children, and according to you, she owes you the balance of tickets that you allowed her to purchase on your credit card for Six Flags for herself and her 2 children. Nick Roman says his cousin Joe Marie Perez never paid in full for season passes to Six Flags. Nick claims her delinquency damaged his credit now, so her ticket, if her tickets are $140 each. According to this machine, it's $420. Did you buy a ticket as well? Absolutely not. Not for yourself, not for anybody else. He's wrong. Mr. Roman says he didn't have a receipt from Six Flags because it was just my billing card on there. He says he paid $445, but Six Flags filed a claim against him for the balance of $687.69. He didn't go to Six Flags. Well, that's what he said. I believe him.